the last few years, there have been a slew of a bunch of different creators that have come out and blown up under the Image umbrella. To me, though, one of the strongest creators that have come out from that time period is Rick Remender. Rick Remender, over the last few years, to me, has been one of the most consistent writers in the game. To the point where I don't even really need to see what the premise is of a Rick Remender book. I know right off the bat, I'm just gonna buy it. However, with the man having as great of a career and as strong of a back catalog as he does have, it can be a bit difficult to figure out what books to start with. Today we're going to be taking a look at 4 of Rick Remender's best comics. Let's do this. Kicking things off, we're going to start with what I consider to be the best modern-day X-Men run. I'm talking about Uncanny XForce. If you've never read an X-Force title, essentially what the X-Force is Charles Xavier's, or who's ever leading the X-Force at the time, their own personal hit squad for the X-Men. In this particular instance, Wolverine has started his own section of the X-Force. Problem about this is that none of the other mutants know about it. At the start of the story, Wolverine is using Deadpool as reconnaissance. He sends out Deadpool, and Deadpool finds out that Apocalypse is coming back. Without going into too many more spoilers, it's safe to say that Wolverine is not happy about that. So, they launch off in an attempt to go kill the new Apocalypse. Without giving anything else away, this to me is the perfect X-Men story. It's paced incredibly well, and I love the way that Rick Remender is able to balance out all the different characters. The roster on this team is completely stacked with powerhouses. You have Archangel, Psylocke, Wolverine, Phantom X, and Deadpool, and that's just at the start. Eventually, it gets even bigger. And with such a stacked cast, you would think that it would be kind of difficult to balance out the drama and balance out all the character beats that everybody has to deal with among the group, and Rick Remender handles this perfectly. On top of all this, there is a slew of different artists on this title, and every single one of them is really at the top of their game, Jerome Pena being, of course, the standout here. Jerome Pena does the first arc in this book, and goddamn did I want him to do the rest of it, because it's so good. If for whatever reason you're new to the X-Men, this is a book that I've recommended on a number of occasions, and this is no different. You should pick this up. The next book on my list is Fear Agent. Fear Agent was the book that first introduced me to Rick Remender. Fear Agent is a story that revolves around the character named Heath Houston, and at the beginning of the story, Heath is in a real bad shape. He's flying around the cosmos in a bit of a beaten up old junker of a spaceship, and on top of that, he can't put down the bottle. Heath is the last of what is known as the Fear Agents. The Fear Agents were a group of individuals that fought the Great War on Earth against the Tatalians, and they failed. At its core, the story of Fear Agent is about a person trying to confront their own demons and really try to push on despite the fact that they have lost just about everything in their life. What really starts out as a story about a man trying to get over his demons ends up becoming a huge space epic. This is a book that if you enjoy stories about being in outer space and things along the lines of Firefly, it's right up your alley. There are moments in here where it's a time travel story. There are moments in here where it's a western. It goes so many different places. Art duties here are handled mainly by Tony Moore and Jerome Pena, and it's beautiful. Tony Moore's style fits this tone perfectly well. He gets to really flex his chops, and he gets to draw some really creepy and strange aliens. Meanwhile, Jerome Pena's signature style is here as well. They both work really well together, surprisingly enough. A lot of times when you have two different artists working on the same book, the styles can clash. However, here, it's really well done. It's like they can make music together. It works for some reason. If you're looking for a really great space epic with tons of heart, then Fear Agent is your bag. The next choice on my list is Deadly Class. Deadly Class is awesome. To me, it is right now the best ongoing thing that Rick Remender is writing. Deadly Class centers around a group of students that end up at this academy. The catch is, the academy is for assassins. If you heard about this comic before, chances are you saw the short-lived sci-fi series. And while I enjoyed the first and only season, it seems that I was one of only a handful of people that actually watched it because it's canceled. The cool thing about Deadly Class is that it's set in the 80s, and the cast of characters in this book are fantastic. I'm going to be flat out honest, and I'm going to say some of them you're probably not going to like. You're probably going to hate them because for the vast majority, they are all assholes. But as you go through the book, you soon discover that every single one of the students there have their reasons for being in the academy. Some are there because they are forced, some are there because they like being there. And while I think the first few issues of this are solid, the book really doesn't kick into high gear for me until the second year, where we get a new cast of students. Art duties here are handled by Wes Craig, and to me, they could not be in safer hands. Wes Craig is a fantastic artist, and I think he's doing the work of his life. Craig really gets a chance to experiment here, especially with panel layout. There's certain times in the book where the kids are experimenting with different kinds of drugs, and it gives Wes Craig so much room to try new things. He gets to play around with color and distortion and really starts to bring in different elements that you would get from somebody who's taking LSD. So if you were a fan of something along the lines of Wanted or Battle Royale, this might just scratch that itch if you're looking for something new. The last choice on my list goes to Black Science. If I were to describe Black Science in just a few words, it would be badass. The story centers around anarchist scientist Grant McKay. Grant McKay has now done the impossible. He has been able to punch a hole through reality. As you can imagine, things go completely well for him, and it's all sunshine and rainbows and butterflies. No, it's terrible. Everything falls apart. Grant ends up taking his team across the multiverse, and unfortunately for them, they end up getting trapped. You see, the item that they use to travel between dimensions is called the Pillar, and the Pillar resets itself every few hours, and if they're not there when it resets itself, they get left behind. What's really cool about this series is just how creative Rick Remender is able to get. You experience different types of realms of reality with this family, and it's awesome. You see all manner of kind of different creatures and all manner of different kind of races and religion, and it's just something that you have to really read. What really impressed me in this book is just how creative Remender is able to get. There are so many twists and turns throughout this story that it'll make your head spin. However, that kind of comes with the territory when you're working on a book that has to deal with interdimensional travel. A lot of the stereotypical tropes are there, but Remender is smart enough to kind of avoid those pitfalls, and he delivers a lot of wow moments. Of course, I would be remiss if I did not comment on Matteo Scalera's amazing artwork. This must be a playground for this artist because of the fact that the story is always changing and always going to different dimensions. He gets to always change up his style. Some of my favorite drawings in here is Matteo Scalera's rendition of Native Americans in a different universe. I'm not going to get into why they are the way they are, but I will say it was actually really cool to see. If a good science fiction interdimensional traveling story is something that you are interested in, then this is absolutely a buy. You should be picking this up and reading this. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this video, and if this is your first time checking out my channel, please take a look at my other content. You could find me on Twitter. That link is in the description. You can always support this channel by going through and subbing to my Patreon. That link is found in the description. And if you want to purchase any of these books that I listed today, those links are in the description as well. If you do, I get a cut of the profit. Doesn't come out of your wallet, comes out of Amazon's. Thanks so much, guys. Let me know in the comments section down below what your favorite Rick Remender book is. I love you, and I'll speak with you soon. Bye.